In Western culture, we have historically treated music as a static object, a physical noun represented by unmoving ink on a page. This assumption supports the solitary genius model. It suggests that creation happens almost exclusively within a single composer's mind, making the resulting score the definitive version of the work. Compare that to modern production. On the left, the score dictates every note. On the right, a digital timeline displays a complex, iterative process involving multiple contributors. Scholar Christopher Small argued that music is better understood as a verb. He called this active process musicking. Musicking includes everyone in the space: performers, listeners, and organizers. It frames the performance as a fluid set of human relationships rather than a fixed commodity. In this model, the ensemble functions like a decentralized biological system, where connections form and change in real time. When we view music as an action, the social structure of the group becomes the primary factor in determining its creative output. The traditional symphony orchestra provides a clear example of a highly structured, linear organization. Information moves strictly from the top down. The hierarchy flows from composer to conductor, through the section leaders, and finally to the rank-and-file players. The conductor serves as the central processor. All real-time decisions regarding tempo determine data, where technical precision is prioritized over independent creative choice. The concert hall's architecture reinforces this distance. The performers are elevated in light, while a darkened audience is expected to remain passive and silent. This model relies on the idea that the core creative work is finished before the performance even begins. While the industrial hierarchy allows for massive scale and precision, it inherently limits the emergence of collaborative ideas by centralizing all creative authority. Small decentralized ensembles offer a different structural logic. Notice the circular arrangement here. There is no podium and no central director. Researchers call these communities of practice. They are shared environments where learning and creating are inseparable social activities. Decision-making is distributed horizontally. In place of a top-down mandate, players rely on peer learning and real-time critique. The group's musical genre dictates its culture. Ensembles that prioritize jamming develop communal processes, while those reading classical scores often default to a more rigid division of labor. Without a hierarchical authority to mandate participation, flat structures must work harder to integrate members with different levels of experience. To maintain momentum, these groups require deep interpersonal trust and a shared understanding of their musical goals. Removing the hierarchy changes the musician's role, turning them into an active, independent contributor to the group's collective intelligence. Real-time jazz improvisation provides a high-pressure test for distributed creativity. The musicians depend on constant physical and visual contact. Keith Sawyer describes this as collaborative emergence. The resulting music cannot be traced back to the intentions of any one individual. Imagine the ensemble as a connected mesh network. One musician introduces a motif and sends it into the system. A second player modifies and ricochets it. This high contingency means every action responds to the unpredictable prior moment, creating a feedback loop outpacing conscious planning. In this state, the creative intelligence of the music lives in the interactions between the players, rather than inside their heads. Conflict and unexpected disruptions are vital. They force the network to adapt and find new, unplanned structural patterns. This process of collaborative emergence offers a framework for understanding musical creativity as a distributed socio-cognitive event. How does a leaderless, high-contingency network avoid collapsing into noise? One mechanism is empathetic attunement. This is the ability to instinctively adopt a co-performer's perspective and anticipate their timing. This creates group flow, an interactional synchrony where individual egos submerge into the collective motion of the ensemble. The group is also maintained by metacognitive regulation. Players are constantly assessing and adjusting the group's progress in real time. This happens through layers of self-regulation, co-regulation with a partner, and the socially shared regulation of the entire room. These tethers provide the necessary structure to sustain collaborative emergence. Digital mediation allows these communities of practice to exist without being in the same room or the same time zone. The physical rehearsal space expands into a global digital network. Synchronous tools replicate the contingency of a live jam by minimizing signal latency between continents. Asynchronous tools enable an iterative process, One contributor uploads data, which is later modified and re-uploaded by someone else. Here, the digital platform itself functions as a new type of score, mediating interactions without dictating the final musical result. This fosters a participatory culture, where listeners can remix original files and feed their own ideas back into the creative loop. However, even with these tools, building social bonds and trust remains a significant hurdle in virtual environments. Digital mediation introduces new ways to bypass traditional industrial hierarchies, allowing for a broader blurring of the roles between creator, performer, and consumer. These examples demonstrate how musical creation is often a product of social constructivism. Scholar Vera John Steiner identified 4 patterns of collaboration that help us categorize these different group dynamics. Complementary collaboration occurs in ensembles where members have distinct, siloed roles based on their specific expertise. Integrative collaboration is found in high-contingency networks, where individual contributions fuse to create transformative, indivisible change. Recognizing these social frameworks provides a more detailed lens for analyzing the creative forces behind a musical work. Despite these insights, our understanding of collaborative musicianship is still limited by current research methods. Most of our knowledge comes from individual case studies. We still lack the large-scale quantitative data needed to see broader patterns in how groups create. Many areas remain unmapped, particularly the role of gender dynamics and power structures in creative collaboration. Research is also beginning to shift away from focusing only on elite professionals, looking instead at the diverse networks found in community and educational settings. As science and musicology evolve, the study of the collaborative edges that connect musicians is becoming as essential as the study of the individuals themselves.